Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And it is Monday, first day of the week, and it is August the 10th. So we are 1 week into August, and it has been an interesting month so far. As always, we are, for the month of August, using Journey into the Hidden Realms Tarot. This is another Barbara Moore deck, and it is beautifully illustrated by Julia Jeffrey. This deck was lent to me by my dear friend Topaz, who has graciously allowed me to use the deck for our daily readings, as well as other readings and lessons and things like that throughout the month of August. These are lovely, very enchanted looking cards, and I am absolutely adoring reading them. So, without further ado, let's see what card we have for today to start the week. Oh, okay. So, we have the Six of Swords. There is no swords on this card. There is very little on this card to denote the swords, and you really have to count those birds out there to get the six out of this. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So there are 6 birds in the air. So again, if you didn't know what this card was and were seeking symbolically to read the little hints and pieces in this card, I think you'd probably have a hard time. So swords, as we know, are represented by the element of air. So I do understand the birds. That's clear. The 6 is typically kind of a moment to kind of reflect but also move forward. So it's what am I going to do next kind of card. It isn't quite as relaxed as the 7. It is more of a plan your next course of action sort of card. The 6 of Swords is typically a card of also travel. So I don't really get that so much in this card, except that she is clearly kind of in the mountains, maybe in a mountain pass. I will say that the mountains, so mountains typically represent the idea of struggle. So you've got to climb your mountains, right? So climbing this mountain, these are very big mountains, so they are kind of a bigger task to overcome. And I do typically get that from the Six of Swords as being something that you have to cross over, something you have to overcome in some way. But again, this one, other than really embracing that element of air with the birds represented on here, I'm not getting some of the other symbols that are usually in the Six of Swords. So Six of Swords is also typically travel over water, and there isn't any water in this. So they're fully embracing that this is an air card. We don't have water on this card. We don't have anything else. It is very much just, this is air. We're high in the mountains where the air is thin. We're looking at birds. She even has a bird skull on her, I don't know if you can see it, the bird skull on her third eye chakra kind of right here, and she is looking up to those birds. So it feels like she's kind of looking for guidance, divine guidance. She is assessing kind of where she is and maybe which mountain path to take. I am not getting too much else as far as like symbolically how this card connects like it usually does. So typically, and it's really interesting because I kind of draw cards in the morning as well. So I've drawn this card twice today. I normally wouldn't say anything about that, but I found it really interesting. So the Six of Swords, being that it is kind of that, let's let's move to something else. Let's cross over. Let's go on to some new idea, some new perspective. And I get the perspective thing in this as well because it kind of feels like maybe she's trying to see what the birds see. She's kind of trying to connect with them, and maybe, it is a fairy deck. I'm making so many assumptions about this card. It is a fairy deck, so maybe she is going to turn into a bird. Maybe she's going to join her other fellow bird fairies, bird witches, whatever they may be, in the skies, and that's that transformation, that crossing over kind of element to this card. All of that said, I do think this is a beautiful card that represents air and represents the swords for that element that they typically are assigned to in a way. So I do get that. I hesitate to say that like a beginning reader could get really anything other than maybe seeking guidance from the divine, seeking guidance from your higher self from this card, which does kind of lose the nuance of travel and transport and all of those things that are involved in the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is also typically a more somber card in most decks, and you get this kind of like, well, I don't really want to be leaving behind what I'm leaving behind. I don't really want to let go of things yet. And while she is still grounded, maybe that's it, that she really wants to fly with those birds. And she is not really able to do that yet because she's still kind of tied, earthbound, so to speak, to whatever it is that we can't see off the bottom of the card here. So I don't know. Again, I'm having a really hard time figuring out how this card ties into the typical symbolism of the Six of Swords. But I will say that as a card of look to the skies, look across the way, look to something new, a new horizon, I get all that. I do get all of that from this card. So I hope if you were to draw this card and you are a new reader, that you would at least see that new horizon, that new level of things. And there is, I can't even tell if it's a sunrise or if it's just cloudy back there, but I would say that if it was a sunrise coming up over the mountains, it is kind of that new horizon feel to it. So beautiful card, very purple card, very muted tones on this card. But again, I'm really not seeing a whole lot of the typical symbolism, but it is lovely. So I I think that today really what the card is, the little bit of advice that the card is probably giving us for the head of the work week is look to those new horizons, look to new ideas, look to um, new plans, because it could be time to kind of move on as well as it is time to kind of cross over to something more valuable to you. Even though there will be a loss, it's something new and exciting that awaits for you on the other horizon. So I hope you enjoyed that little tidbit of the journey into the hidden realms. And today is Monday. That means there is Tarot Cafe this afternoon. And if you're interested in joining us for that, please leave a comment below or check out the links in the description, and it'll help you get there and learn all about the interesting things we do in Tarot Cafe, which is pretty loosey-goosey about how to do tarot and things like that, but we have a lot of fun. And if you are interested in more of these crazy readings and things, check out the playlist that's connected to the end of this video, and I totally look forward to seeing you tomorrow and all of the interesting cards that we may read there. All right.